They thought I was just a low-paid employee, but they had no idea that I was the woman who created the company's biggest project, and behind my silence was a secret that would change everything. They ignored me because they thought I was just a low-paid employee, but they had no idea that I was the true creator of the biggest project the company was celebrating. And behind my silence was a secret that would one day change everything. It was 3 a.m. Everything was silent inside my small suburban home in Seattle. The only sound was the faint voice of a late-night TV show playing in the background, almost as if someone far away was trying to talk to me. Yellow streetlights spilled through the window and I held the old coffee mug I had kept for years. I placed the Ambien pill on the table, but once again, sleep refused to come, because my mind kept returning to the day when I was treated like an ordinary employee in front of the very success I had created. Emily, just organize these files quickly. That's enough for someone in your position, my manager had said with a smile. That smile, that tone, it made me feel like I was only there to arrange papers, manage data, and follow orders. No one knew that inside my laptop was the presentation that had saved the company from collapse. No one knew that every page of the project the CEO called his greatest achievement carried my sleepless nights, my hard work, and my ideas. I stayed silent, intentionally. Not because I lacked the courage to speak, but because I wanted to see how far people would go when they believed they knew the whole truth. It all started 2 years earlier when I moved from Boston to Seattle. A new city, a new company, a new beginning. Or at least that was what I thought. I had 10 years of experience in business strategy, but the company hired me as a junior analyst. My salary was so low that sometimes while shopping at Target I would check the price of every item twice before putting it in my cart. I kept telling myself, Emily, just give it time. One day they will see your value. Every morning before work I would stop at Starbucks for coffee and quietly sit at my desk. Around me, people talked about big dreams and spoke confidently during meetings while I studied the numbers on my screen. Hidden inside those numbers I saw something nobody else noticed. The company had been struggling for months. Sales were dropping, customers were leaving, and every department was blaming another. But the data showed me a hidden opportunity. One night, it was probably around 2 a.m., the sound of my coffee machine filled my apartment. Standing in my small kitchen I looked through the calculations again. There was something there, a pattern, a way forward. I created a business model that could take the company into a completely new market. I studied customer behavior, technology trends, and consumer needs, then built an entire strategy. I prepared the presentation and sent it to my boss the next morning. I thought they would be impressed. I was wrong. A few days later there was a major company meeting. The CEO stood on stage and announced that the company was launching a revolutionary new project. Everyone applauded. My manager was receiving congratulations. Then the slides appeared on the screen. The same words. The same graphs. The same strategy. My strategy. I sat in the back of the room. My hands went cold. Every part of me wanted to stand up and tell everyone the truth. But I stayed quiet. Because in that moment I discovered something even worse. They had not just taken my idea. They had intentionally hidden me. A few weeks later I found an old email that had accidentally landed in my inbox. It was a conversation between my manager and a board member. The message said, "Don't let Emily become the face of this project. She should remain in a support role. People won't accept a young woman at that level." Reading those words brought a strange kind of peace. It hurt, but it also made everything clear. The problem was never my ability. The problem was that some people simply refused to recognize it. That night I stood in front of the refrigerator light in my kitchen. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes in the quietest moments of the night, even a small refrigerator light can feel like a companion. I poured myself a glass of water and asked myself one question. How long am I going to wait for other people to decide my worth? The next morning I made my decision. I didn't fight. I didn't create drama. I didn't make accusations. I simply continued working. But this time I was working for myself. I saved every piece of research, every draft, and every original document. Then I attended an industry conference in Seattle where leaders from major companies were present. I was given a small opportunity to talk about my ideas. I spoke for only 10 minutes, and those 10 minutes changed my entire life. People asked questions. They showed interest. Within weeks, I received an offer from another company. The most surprising part was seeing the same people who once treated me like a low-paid employee suddenly trying to convince me to stay. The CEO personally called me into his office. "Emily, we know you played a major role in this project." I stayed quiet. Not because I was afraid, but because I finally understood my worth. I simply said, "It wasn't a role. It was my work. And I want to be somewhere my value is respected." That moment felt different. There was no shouting, no dramatic victory, no celebration. Just peace. That night I returned home. The TV was playing softly, rain was falling outside, and the clock showed 3 a.m. again. But this time there was no anxiety in my eyes. I placed the Ambien bottle back in the drawer. For the first time I realized maybe I didn't need a sleeping pill. Maybe I needed to believe in myself. Morning slowly arrived. Light entered through the window and Seattle began waking up. I turned on my coffee machine and smiled as I heard its familiar sound. It's strange. The people who tried to make me feel small were the ones who helped me discover my true strength. I learned that the greatest revenge is not defeating someone else. The greatest revenge is recognizing yourself. I opened my laptop, started the first page of my new life, and had one clear thought in my mind. A new day, a new me, and my silence was no longer my weakness. It was my strength. Thank you so much for staying with this story until the end. If this journey of courage, self-worth, and finding your true value touched your heart, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more inspiring stories like this one. See you in the next story.